The San Pedro Bay encompasses America's largest port complex, accounting for about 35% of all imported products arriving at U.S. shores. This total market share has declined significantly in recent years as trade patterns have shifted. Two major factors in the local harbor are driving goods movement operations toward smart technology solutions. The first is North American competition, which is actively seeking and securing freight handling and logistical services contracts for discretionary cargo. The second is the enactment and enforcement of air quality and carbon footprint reduction mandates. The future of the San Pedro Bay will be determined by these two challenges and by the adoption of new and responsive smart technology applications that increase efficiency and reduce costs. World trade was forever changed with the introduction of containerization in the 1960s. With this relatively simple but practical innovation, loose cargo could be contained in a stackable, rectangular box. Not only was the container stackable, it also could be transported intermodally to its final destination via any combination of trucks, trains, and ships. Intermodality over the past 6 decades has led to massive and continual increases in the flow, capacity, and growth of trade across the oceans and across the continents. However, continuous growth always reaches critical peaks, which generate new problems that have to be addressed. Unless adequately resolved, those new problems stall additional growth and often make it difficult to maintain the peak levels. In the case of cargo, too many containers at one time in one place can cause congestion. Congestion jams the terminals, the freeways, and the side streets as trucks arrive in the lineups to pick up their loads. Congestion and inefficiency also can negatively impact the community and can degrade the environment and the quality of life. The solution involves becoming smarter than the problem. It means that every sector of the industry has to become smarter in order to keep up and improve. Freight itself has to become smarter, and the methods by which it is tracked, moved, and coordinated have to be made smarter. Along those lines, a consortium of ocean carriers is embarking on an effort to standardize data protocols for freight movement. The Digital Container Shipping Association will harmonize uniform practices in data handling for 9 of the 11 largest carriers, which control about 70% of container capacity.
Data points exist throughout the supply chain universe, and we have, along with GE Transportation, have found a way to harness those data points, put them into one single pane of glass through aggregation, and give us visibility to all the activities happening within the supply chain. It started off by building a relationship with U.S. Customs in Washington, and then the partnerships, as Chris mentioned, with the liner shipping companies to share that data, overlay it, examine it so we know what is coming to us. The beauty is that information was available in grayscale format maybe 2 days before a vessel arrived in Los Angeles. Today, our goal was to try to get that information about 14 days before it comes to LA. And we're seeing, based on origin, as much as 38 days prior to arrival in Los Angeles, we've got visibility.
If freight mostly entails inanimate objects packed inside a container, how can that freight become smarter? While there is no way to physically animate lifeless cargo, the information about that cargo actually can live a virtual life through technology. Cargo manifests, itemized lists of goods, descriptions and photos of said cargo, points of origin, daily tracking, estimated dates of delivery, and real-time notification of arrival all can be conveyed through infotech. Recent developments in the use of blockchain technology can and will convert the long-time art of estimating cargo delivery dates into an exact science.
I think the key is leveraging the data that's at everybody's fingertips or that exists in sort of these transactions that largely has been some sort of tribal knowledge, right? Someone had been sitting at that desk dispatching the same trade lane for the last 20 years, and they just knew that it would take a day and a half to get to a certain warehouse, and that's how they were sort of maybe ballparking it on their static document they were sharing back and forth to a client. I think the reality is we need to sort of take a step back from that and appreciate all the data points that exist on particular trade lane, whether it be air, ocean, last mile delivery. There's a lot of great data out there. It's just a matter of aggregating it and using it to provide the best informed call it approximation or schedule.
The use of uniform information portals and protocols, along with the implementation of the blockchain to pinpoint the whereabouts and condition of specific cargo, will go a long way toward optimizing efficiency in the distribution and delivery of goods. Expanding access to more on-dock rail also can help reduce congestion as cargo volumes grow. Additionally, the infrastructure around the harbor and throughout the cities near it must be upgraded with adequate truck lanes, bridges, and access points which facilitate rapid movement of trucks without impeding regular automobile traffic.
Even though we can dramatically increase the efficiency of what we have out there now, at some point we will have used up all the capacity, even with efficiency improvements. And so at that point, we're going to need more infrastructure of some sort. I think probably most of us would want that infrastructure in the form of more on-dock rail so that we could be more efficient getting things in and out. But nevertheless, I think we really will need to have some incremental amount of new infrastructure-related capacity.
The state of California has imposed very strict regulations regarding air pollution and greenhouse gases. In response, an updated San Pedro Bay Clean Air Action Plan has been jointly authorized by both the Port of Los Angeles and the Port of Long Beach. The Clean Air Action Plan, or CAP, provides direction for the anticipated zero-emission mandates headed for the harbor in 2030. The plan's shift away from fossil fuels is driving the effort to electrify marine terminal yard vehicles and to potentially utilize fuel cell technology and batteries for trucks and other heavy equipment.
The ultimate goal is zero emissions, and that's zero smog emissions and zero carbon emissions for transportation. And at one time, the focus was solely on light duty, and now it's shifted into medium duty, heavy duty, trucks, transport, even vessels off the shores here. So electric drive, for the most part, has less moving parts, and maintenance may actually be, less maintenance may be required, so operating costs can be lower. This will come over time. The key will be through scale. We're at the kind of low volume levels today, so everything does have a higher cost. That was true with CNG vehicles at one time, and then with scale, it kind of took off on its own and no longer needed, you could say, public assistance. So the same thing will happen with hydrogen and fuel cell.
Marine terminals are at the cutting edge of automation on a variety of fronts. Worldwide, automation has been implemented at 44 major port terminals, but only 5 are located in the United States. Efficiency, cutting expenses in the long run, reducing truck trips and truck waiting time, along with the mandates to eliminate exhaust emissions, have combined to convert some San Pedro Bay terminals into veritable laboratories of technological innovation. This innovation also arises as a remedy for problematic megaships bearing massive loads, which often create bottlenecks and surges in container movement within the conventional terminals and on local streets. Beyond traditional longshore tasks, there are numerous types of jobs which will be essential in keeping facilities running properly in zero-emission terminals. Those new assignments encompass servicing and repair of battery-operated vehicles, cranes, and related electrical systems. Ongoing upkeep of software-controlled mechanical operations will be required. New job training will be provided at various levels from technical maintenance to power systems replacement. Upskilling the harbor workforce in areas associated with electrical engineering and energy engineering will sow new opportunities for technology-intensive careers. Whichever way the industry proceeds, many new jobs and new industry sectors will be created as terminals shift to automation, electrification, sustainable energy, and zero emissions.
There are still mechanical elements on the docks that will continue, and there will be a need for a mechanical awareness. So we're looking at hybrid fields, mechatronics, folks who have an understanding of not only mechanical matters, they understand the electrical requirements required to, for example, support, operate, maintain an electric charging station. All of that will also require an information technology awareness to ensure that, again, the digital information supply chain that runs parallel to the physical supply chain are also maintained and protected.
Port officials and industry leaders claim that the zero-emission ports will ultimately generate thousands of new jobs off the docks in logistics and support services because a rapid expansion of trade will be possible with these facilities operating 24/7. Automation, they say, will enable efficient, cost-effective, and reliable handling of goods from vessels capable of 22,000 TEU container loads. Agreements between the Pacific Maritime Association Management Group and the International Longshore and Warehouse Union will authorize and provide the skills retraining necessary to appropriately transition current dockside labor for the future of automated technology. Meanwhile, state and local policymakers are keeping an eye on the potential impact of automation and its effect on the workforce. Depending upon how the automation process evolves, those policymakers could decide to enter the fray. It remains to be seen how all of this will affect the community around the harbor area. Competition from other ports and the development of other trade routes around the globe may continue to reduce the overall market share of discretionary cargo traffic bound for the San Pedro Bay. One thing is certain: with a very large population base in the immediate and regional area, the demand for goods will continue to be strong in Southern California. Ultimately, smart technology will play a major role in how consumer items are delivered to local customers.